Hey, so I'm standing here just down the street from the office, and so it's like, what do you think, lion or lamb? What do you mean beef? No, March, never mind. Hard to have a conversation with people sometimes. Welcome to March. Right now it's kind of lambish. We're supposed to get lionish a little later in the week, so I'm not quite sure. Welcome to episode 6 already, season 4 of Niagara 411 Live with Sterry. We are fueled by Gales gas bars. We are powered by WeeStreem. We're also supported by Virgin Insurance Group. And we are housed comfortably inside one of downtown St. Catharines' favorite eateries and pubs, Fiddler's Pour House. We're going to revisit St. Catharines UFC fighter Jasmine Jasudavicius. Man, she's got quite a career going. She had a pretty good couple of weeks, and we're going to be talking to her coming up a little bit later on in the program. And we will bring you some further shocking, and I know we overuse this word, but these are shocking videos of what's going on at this condo development in Welland. It's absolutely off the charts, crazy. So we're going to go on in and we'll get ourselves settled on what is so far pretty lambish, as I mentioned earlier, March the 1st for the Niagara region. Now, there's supposed to be some other storm system coming in later in the week, so you could possibly make an argument for the fact that March is coming in like a lion as opposed to a lamb. So be you lambish or be you lionish, I hope you hang around and enjoy the show. And our first show in March. We're not too far from spring. What a wonderful word that is. And in spite of the fact that we really haven't had, knock on wood, that tough a winter. So I.B. Lee, we are going to do episode 6 of Niagara 411 Live with Sterry in just about 30 seconds. Come on in. Hey, here we are back again, and there it is. I mean, it was obviously the way to start this program. Gee whiz. So last week, we were showing you the video, and we thought that was shocking enough, of that first section that collapsed at night, and it was lit up because of, well, they light construction sites, obviously, so that there are safety issues, etc. Did I say safety issues? And then this past week, this happened, and a fellow by the name of I had his name. Yeah, Jake Oberton. He took some drone footage, which depicted the second collapse from above. And here it is right now. Now, the first collapse, see that big hole near the left-hand side of that long building, that long structure? Okay, so the first collapse happened sort of in the middle, back there where you see that hole. That's where kind of the first one happened. And then there was a section in front of that, because Kevin and I Kevin Jack, ladies and gentlemen, WeeStream doing this thing.
So here's the aftermath of the second collapse.
Yeah, here's the aftermath of the second one. And just to give you some juxtaposition as to where we are, we're in the Welland Canal. You look at that old steel railroad bridge. Okay, well, that's That's where like right on the canal. And this is after the second one, which was the
It's twisted metal, and look at that.
the part of it that was in front of the first one, on the canal side of the first collapse.
Here, you know what, Lee? Let's go to the first. And again, this is all courtesy of, you know what, I think I said Joe or Jake, but I think it's
You told
Joe.
me Jake.
Yeah, I think it's Joe.
It's Joe Overton. Thank you for we're using your footage, we appreciate the fact that you took this, because it really gives people an idea about exactly what happened. Okay.
So this is the same drone footage of the building after the first collapse, and you can see that void there.
See that hole, that sort of what you would call a wall, maybe, in front of that hole. Well, that's the part that just came down. Now, and it kind of makes sense, because it's got nothing to support it behind, and eventually gravity would take over. And but again, it calls into question all kinds of things, i.e. quality of materials, quality of construction, quality of design, all those questions that, believe me, are on the minds of Welland city councilors and Welland residents, especially the potential residents or future residents of this condo facility. Boy, we would really like to talk to somebody that is involved with that, as far as a future resident or somebody that knows someone that was going to be a resident of these condos when they were finished. But this is, Kevin, this is my own opinion, but this thing is going to be going on for years. This is not a simple, easy, well, let's put it back up kind of fix.
No, I think at this point you got to tear down the whole structure, right? I don't think anybody would move in here.
No.
And that's one of the questions.
You've got to start from scratch. And who was it? We were talking to somebody, somebody that was working for the electric organization that was doing the wiring and things for all of those condos. And people have been working in those. It's not just the people that are going to be moving in, it's the people that have been working in there.
I mean, just by the grace of God that first collapse happened 7 o'clock on a Saturday. I don't even think it's that weird that you would have a tradesperson in on a Saturday for a build.
Oh, they work all hours now.
And also on a crunch. This thing was supposed to be opened in May. So they're probably going 7 days. I mean, not now. And thank God
May of 2030.
Thank God they closed it down after the first one.
Oh, my gosh.
Look at this, Lee.
I know.
mean, this is like an apocalyptic movie. That's what this looks like. It looks like, honestly, if I told you here's the latest footage from Ukraine after another airstrike, you'd believe me.
But how would you feel? Because they try to sell these things before they're built. And there's a down payment and all the rest of it, and you go through presentations, etc. There have to be a number of people that have put down payments on one of these condos on spec. I mean, it happens all the time. That's how developers often get their front money to put these things up, as if people are sold in advance.
Yeah, 226 units have all been sold, Lee.
226 units.
226 units. And
have been sold.
They're all sold. People are moving in here. I tried to reach out through 411
Not
to see
in my lifetime, they're not.
I wouldn't move in here.
They're not. No, there's got to be too much investigation. There's got to be too much, and then there's probably going to be lawsuits, and there's going to be all kinds of things going on. And yet, it seems to be downplayed. I'm not condemning the builder, but we haven't seen.
Well, who else could you condemn?
They seem to think it's okay.
Who else could you condemn, if not the builder?
No, yeah, but there's approval of plans. There's approval of architectural drawings. There's structural approvals. There's a whole. It's not just somebody says they're going to put something up and they're allowed to do it. There are a lot of layers of pamphlets and approvals and permits that are required to allow something like this to be built in your municipality. Where's all that?
I mean,
where's the comment on that from either City Hall staff or provincial or federal government? It's like, where is that?
Could you imagine the eyes that would be on Welland right now had somebody died, had that first collapse happened 24 hours before that on a workday Friday instead of Saturday night, like
that certainly would have made it worse.
The whole country would be here.
But this is bad enough.
Like all of Canadian media would be in Welland right now going, what the hell went on here?
But with all due respect as well, I don't think we've had full disclosure from the city staff or builders or anybody as to what's really going on with this thing. I mean, somebody knows more than we have been told. And I mean, Welland City Council was supposed to have a closed door session this week, and it was shut down because the clerk said everybody there's nothing to see here. We've got all the information we need. Nothing to see here. Pardon? And John Kilkeo, Welland City Councilor, I was reading it this morning on an online post, looking at the discussions that took place, and Kilkeo said, "Hey, wait a minute. Why can't we ask these questions? There may not be a whole lot more to know, but our constituents want to know the answers to these questions. Like, come on." And then the mayor says, "Well, I know, you know everything I know." Do we? But let us ask the question. Don't shut the conversation down. Anyway.
Nothing to see here, Lee.
No fun, nothing to see here, folks. Go on your merry way. Everything's fine. We got it covered. Really, you do. Okay. And what does that mean? That's just I think that's just probably the second of numerous collapses in that facility, because one thing depends on the other usually to keep it going. It's like that game where you take out one little thing and it falls apart. Well, we've got two major collapses in the last couple of weeks, which means it's got to weaken the structure of all the other parts of that project. Nothing else is dependable right now. Is to stay. I wouldn't let any workers go in there to do anything because, well, actually, there's nothing to do because I think to go to your point, Kevin, it'll probably all be torn down.
I think it has to. Like, you can't salvage this at this point. This is like, I feel like Miley Cyrus. It's coming in like a wrecking ball.
Which is a great time, by the way, to remind you that anybody and everybody, including yourself, at home or in your car or what? No, you shouldn't be watching this in your car. Don't do that, unless it's stopped. But at work or whatever, to check in with us, and especially if you have any insight on stories like this, and at this time, this one in particular. Do you know anything? Do you know somebody that knows something? Are you one of the 227 people that have put a down payment on a purchase of one of these condominiums? This right here, down here. You see what I'm talking about. Down over here. Over there. Anyway, click the Zoom link in the post that you're watching right now. And we can click you right through. It's like a Zoom call. Click you right through into our green room, and Kevin will make sure that you're looking good and feeling fine, and we can have a conversation. Because believe me, we're flying in the dark without instruments, just like most of the people in Niagara are, and it looks like there has been a cone of silence placed over this story, and with potential apologies to the Welland City Fathers and the Welland City Council, etc. You can't shut this stuff down. You cannot shut it down and expect to come out of it unscathed. You got talk about transparency. We hear about transparency in government all the time, how important it is. And boy, it is certainly difficult. I think you might have realized by now, it is extremely difficult to achieve transparency, because there always seems to be a smoke screen up there somewhere that's making that transparency a little bit murky. And we would like to have. I don't care. Nobody in the city should have egg in their face or whatever. But we need to know what happened. We need to hear from the builder. We need to hear from anybody along the chain of authorizations that was in place for the construction of this complex. Just come out with it. Tell the story. And if you don't know the story, then bloody well find out.
Yeah, I'd love to hear from anybody attached to this project. Maybe you were working there. Maybe you have a family member that's working there.
Yeah.
We'd really love to hear from one of the 226 owners that have pre-bought this unit. Has anybody contacted you to form some sort of class action?
Because, Kevin,
there's a Facebook group right now, Lee, that is bonding all of these people together and saying, "Hey, I own."
Well, let's hear from that.
Yeah,
let's hear from that group. Somebody from that group, because here's the other domino that's going to follow this effect, is the fact that this is not a standalone incident. This is going to reflect and tarnish any other plans or any other structures that are going up in this municipality, because they say, well, it happened over there at the Upper Vista development. How confident should we be in this thing that's going up over on Rice Road or wherever the hell it goes? You know what I'm saying? Because it's going to color the public perception of all development in that area, because I would question, okay, how did they get authorization to put this up like this? Where did they get the materials that they used? Is it a material thing? Again, is it a structural thing? Is it an architectural thing? Is it a land shift thing? Any number of factors go to the instability of a structure. Imagine if a big wind came along. Imagine if they finished all of this stuff and everything. That's a nice bathroom. Isn't that a nice thing? We have a nice 2 or 3 bedroom suite, and like a heavy wind comes along and the whole flipping thing goes down. Thank God that didn't happen. And I could be talking through my Beau Chapeau hat. I don't know. But the reason I'm talking through my hat and I don't know is because you're not telling us. People aren't telling us what's going on. I wouldn't have to speculate. People like me wouldn't have to say, what if? And, I wonder if this happened. Because if you told us what happened, then people like me wouldn't be asking the questions and throwing shade on whoever had anything to do with this project. Notice how hip I am, Kevin? Throwing shade?
There's some people watching this right now, Lee, that are looking at the video and going, oh, look, that was supposed to be our place.
That
right
was
there.
my place there in the corner.
Yeah, that one right there. Yeah, 3rd story. Isn't that us?
Yeah.
Just down the hall from the elevator?
And how would you like to be the one on the 1st story?
Oh, my God. Like,
literally bearing the weight of everybody else.
This whole thing has to come down, right? There's no Band-Aid you put on this to reassure anybody that this building's safe, right?
This is not a fixer-upper.
Fixer-upper. Imagine that, the developer tries to sell it.
We're going to resell these, and they're fixer-uppers.
Oh, my God. Honestly, just by the grace of God, nobody was there at that first collapse, or else we wouldn't be laughing
and
at
the only
all.
The only reason we can laugh is that there were no injuries and there are no human tragedy. But my God,
it's funny. This is something that I pride Canada on, and I pass on to my children, is that there are building codes and there are standards, and things like this don't happen in Canada. They don't happen in Welland.
No, unlike the earthquake that happened in Saudi. And that's another topic. Don't get me started on.
Turkey,
okay, but anyway,
we have standards and codes here.
We're supposed to have.
I shared a story with them because we were driving and a bridge was being repaired, and they're like, "No, what we do in Canada, we actually inspect our bridges and repair them before they come down." I go, "There are some countries in the world that the indication that the bridge needs to be repaired is the bridge just collapsed."
And if you notice, around Niagara, that exact philosophy has been in place up and down the Queen Elizabeth Highway for the last number of years because of all the bridge upgrades and redos, those overpasses over the Queen Elizabeth Way that have been refortified and upgraded, et cetera, over the last number of years. Thank goodness too, because you don't know. I mean, those are old overpasses that have gone over. So, and then there's the new Glendale Avenue diamond virtual. What do they call it? What kind of diamond?
The divergent diamond.
The divergent diamond. I drove through there again the other day, and it's a little tricky going through there. You have to pay attention. Was it anywhere near that area, Kevin, that we had that serious accident? It said Glendale and Homer. Was it anything?
I'm not quite sure where that is, Glendale.
I know where the Homer Bridge is.
I'll throw it up. And just tragedy, a 91-year-old man lost his life.
Yeah. Fatal motor vehicle collision, Niagara on the Lake, under investigation by detectives. Upon arrival, officers determined a 91-year-old male operating a 2015 Mini Cooper east on Glendale Avenue when a collision occurred with a 2019 Chevy Blazer that was traveling west on Glendale Avenue. The witnesses to the collision assisted by providing life-saving measures to the driver of the Mini, who was unresponsive. After the collision, he was ultimately transported to a local hospital where he was pronounced deceased. Sorry for him and his family. The driver of the Chevy Blazer sustained no physical injuries. I guess when Blazer meets Mini, okay.
So Homer Road is that one that runs in behind Leon's and the outlet connection?
Okay. All right. So it's not far from the divergent diamond thing, but it's
right
not
up,
right there.
just between the outlet collection and General Motors, I would say, right in that area.
Yeah.
I said it was in that area, but the collision took place on Glendale, and it looked like, they were moving in opposite directions, so probably some sort of head-on or... God, just...
And we don't know whether the older gentleman had some sort of a medical emergency either. I mean,
Don't know.
Could have... You don't know. And then there was that... We're not going to go there because we have no more details on it, but it just popped up. The older couple that was in their car in Grimsby, was it, Kevin?
Yeah, that was a bizarre story.
A 82-year-old woman was killed in this incident. 79-year-old man in the car is in hospital currently with injuries that are being treated. And the woman that was operating the other vehicle, I think they said she was a 44-year-old person, but the police believe she intentionally struck this other vehicle, and she has since been charged with one count of first-degree murder. First-degree murder, because obviously there's intent, which you need to levy that charge, and one count of attempted murder, because the older gentleman is still alive. The female was transported to a local hospital. She was pronounced deceased. The male transported to an out-of-town hospital for treatment of his injuries. Initial investigation has revealed that their vehicle was allegedly intentionally struck by another vehicle. With the impact propelling the vehicle into the ditch. So this had to be a pretty medium to high speed smack. 44-year-old Sonia Seckhorn of Stony Creek is facing the charges of first degree and attempt to murder. Currently being held in custody, I guess, pending a bail hearing, on the 27th of February, which was this past Monday. I'm assuming she's out on bail, but I don't know for sure. Because, I mean, if somebody that intentionally does that, what's the motivation here? It's not like it was automotive, what do they say, homicide, or where it's...
Yeah, vehicular homicide.
Vehicular homicide, yeah, thank you, Kev. They're calling it first-degree murder, which means there was an intent to kill these people, they believe. That's a damn serious charge.
Now, I've honestly never really seen that, at least laid so
I've never
quickly.
heard of it. Never heard of that.
Attempted first-degree murder? I mean, I guess the allege is that she used her car as a weapon. Right? Your car is a weapon. And
But you did it on purpose.
You intentionally
She
drove
planned
at
it.
I don't know what led up to it. I don't know if there's dash cam
Oh, we
footage.
have to hear more about this one.
I mean, this will play itself out in the courts, but of course, unfortunately, an 81-year-old woman, I think, lost her life, and we've got another man in his 70s that's fighting for his.
Now, one would guess, I did initially, that there was some connection between these people. There was some...
That's what I
don't know.
assumed.
There was some familial thing or whatever, but according to the information that we can glean is that they were strangers to each other.
Yeah, the NRP say here in the report, the people involved were not known to each other. So is this just road rage?
Is it road rage? But why do you do it intentionally?
If you're not known to each other and I have first-degree murder in my car, what could have possibly transpired in the 30 seconds, in the 3 minutes, the 30 minutes that led up to that moment in time?
And these are elderly people, and then one will question, why should people that age still be driving? Well, if they met the qualifications to be able to be operating a vehicle as per Ontario laws, then they're allowed to be on the road. So, I mean, I know people will bring up that argument. We've got 82 and 79, but the heck, I know a lot of people that are 79 and 82 that are quite fine when it comes to looking after themselves and operating vehicles, but on purpose.
Just seeing if there's any insight here. But, you know, I'm just looking through some of the comments. There's 299 comments.
There's so much anger in the world. I would be very, very interested in exactly the state of mind and history of the person that's been charged. It just is.
Oh, God. I mean, here's how close you get through Niagara 411. Can you read Vicky's comments?
Yeah,
here?
as a person who is married to an individual who had to report to this tragic scene last night, my heart goes out to these individuals who had to see this, to the couple who had this happen to them, and the female who lost her life, and to all the extended family and friends who are now having to deal with this terrible, terrible situation. We live in a very cruel and senseless world now. My heart aches for all. And I don't think we could say it any better than Vicky did.
That's tough.
Jeez.
Oh, gosh. They were grandparents coming home from their grandson's hockey game. What the hell could have gone so wrong?
Such a sad tragedy. The charges are a start at the most severe, then will be argued down. There is more to this than the headline. Unfortunately, we live in a world where mental health issues are not dealt with thoroughly. It's a huge travesty for all involved and those left to deal with the aftermath. Gary, I don't know if he has any background on this, but it's possible that there are many different factors at play here.
Powers that be. Gosh.
Clearly a case of mental illness. Well, I don't know if that's clear. I don't see that. Sorry, I've got little things flying around.
Yeah, I'm just looking to see anybody has like insight other than, you know, people just guessing at what happened. Or
Yeah, well, there's always conjecture on these posts.
There's an orange Mustang blacktop convertible. And then Lee, I mean, you talk about crazy stuff in Niagara. We had the building collapse, which is just absolutely stunning. The footage is awe-inspiring. We have first-degree murder in what might be a road rage incident, a mental health issue. We're not sure. And then I guess not just last night, but there still is an ongoing manhunt based on the stuff in Welland last night, and in Wainfleet.
Oh, yeah, we were going to start with that right up near the top of the program. And before we get there, though, I do want to do a couple things.
Okay, cool.
I want to once again thank Gales Gas Bars Limited for fueling this program again on into season 3 already. And this 6th episode of Niagara 411 Live with Lee Sterry. Your support is always greatly appreciated. Jessica Friesen and her crew run an amazingly dedicated to Niagara company. They're a living wage employer in Niagara. They are also Rainbow registered, which, as by its name, you might think of its meaning that it's a safe harbor and a safe environment for all members of our community, regardless of sexual orientation, race, color, creed, etc. And we're very, very proud to be associated with the Gales Gas Bars company. Also to Verge Insurance Brokers, Mark Shirk, Blake Shirk, and the entire family there. We appreciate your continued support as well. We do want to let all of the business people know, and especially those that have already shown some interest in advertising or being mentioned on Niagara 411, that we have amazing reach, amazing effective advertising numbers for people that do sponsor this program, or people like Verge Insurance and Gales wouldn't continue. It's an incredibly huge value for your dollar when you look at what we charge for sponsoring the program. We only take a maximum of 4. We have 2 openings right now. We will not be like NASCAR, where they just slap labels all over the place. You will stand out as a business in this community. You will take advantage of the thousands of people that we have that view this program every week. Kevin, I think this week, when you take into account our original program and some of the, in case you missed it, posts, that we are knocking on the door of 40,000 views for this show that occurred a week ago, and it'll probably be very close to that, if not more, when we put this show up on Niagara 411 Live. So keep in mind that although you may be doing some advertising elsewhere, I can guarantee, absolutely guarantee you, that the best value for your promotion dollar in Niagara is this program. So if you have any interest, no obligation, give us a call, give us a shout. You can just leave a comment on Niagara 411, and Kevin or I can get back to you, and you request numbers, we'll give you the numbers, we'll give you the cost, and you can make up your own mind. But we only have 2 sponsorships that are available. They're 6 months in length, so if you don't manage to get in the next couple of weeks or so, then it'll be a 6-month wait before you can get in touch with us for advertising again, because it's just it's worth it for you to be on at least for a 6-month period. And gosh, it's a huge value for your marketing dollar, and you know how many people use Niagara 411 every week. Nick, thank you very much for helping us have this avenue. Hi to Nick's mom. And Kevin of WeeStreem, we haven't had a chance to talk to Kevin very much because of all those things that we've been talking about. It's been a crazy week in Niagara. WeeStream is Canada's premier streaming service for any event and or be it wedding, be it sports tournament, be it anything at all, and you need more than just 10 people to show up and see it. This is the way to have it happen. Kevin, what's been going on in your world?
We're talking with a lot of people around Niagara and beyond. We just landed another contract this year with the Canadian military, so we'll be traveling to CFB Trenton in about a month's time to do some women's ice hockey for them. We do a lot of the sports championship, and we'll be going up to CFB Borden another couple times throughout this year, it looks like, to handle some soccer and volleyball for them. So love working with our military partners, and it just goes to show what a great small company can do. I mean, hey, the Canadian military hires us, and we're just a small little company out of St. Catharines, so you know what? We don't need to feel small time just because we're from Niagara. We could do some really cool things.
Yeah.
And for the city of St. Catharines, we will be live streaming their public meeting on March the 8th for that Sonics explosion.
Oh, right.
And if you remember Ryan Conkin, the 37-year-old, he passed away. We talked to his fiancée, Natty, here on the show. And boy, oh boy, I mean, that
was a tough interview.
And just like everything that is live streamed, right, everything is recorded and available. So if you want to see that interview, just search through the videos, the archive videos on Niagara 411, and you'll see the interview with Natty. But the city, along with a couple levels of government, will be at the Grantham Lions Club, 7 p.m. start, March 8th, and we will be streaming it to everybody. So don't worry if you miss it, because, of course, you can just take it video on demand anytime and see what they had to say.
And the concept that Kevin Jack and his partner Brandon Scram unleashed 7 years ago, almost?
Yeah, into our 8th year now.
Yeah. Was based on the fact that it is really, really hard to throw a party and have people come to you. It is much easier for you to go to them. And one of the things that I'll never forget is when Niagara Falls Mayor Jim Diodati, we had it on the program actually, Mayor Jim Diodati was at a very important event in Niagara Falls when they unveiled the first rainbow crosswalk. I think it was the first one in Niagara, was it not, Kev?
Think so, yeah.
Yeah. So there was a formal event. You know, they send out, as you know, they send out media releases, et cetera, and they invite the press and they invite the public because this is you know, call it political or whatever you want. It's okay, but they have an event that they want people to be aware that the city is doing, or the municipality, or the business, or whatever. And there it is, right there. How many people are there? If you've got a dozen behind and in front of the mayor making this important announcement for the city of Niagara Falls, that looks like it's on Queen Street to me, that's your audience. But WeeStream streamed that event over the internet. See, there you are, there's like maybe a dozen. And Kevin, how many people viewed that? Do you know? Do you remember?
Yeah, I'm just looking it up now. Over 70,000.
All right.
And then it was also picked up by CHCH News.
Yeah.
So, you know, it just goes exponentially from there. And if WeeStream wasn't there to provide the live stream,
that
to
would
give
never have
video
happened.
coverage for CHCH News. So what we always like to say at WeeStream is be your own media. Don't rely on somebody else to tell your story. Tell your own story.
Yeah. Yeah. So there's a prime example. You've got an event. The mayor of a municipality takes time to come out, and I would bet that most of the people that are in that crowd, well, I wouldn't call it a crowd, in that gathering of people are associated somehow. They know about the project already. I don't think there was probably anybody there that didn't already know what was going on. But 70,000 other people saw it and had a chance to be proud of what their city is doing. And I use the word proud on purpose. And then a television station picks it up and makes it even bigger. So that's the kind of thing that to me, Kevin, always stands out as the benefit of doing what you guys do.
No, you're bang on. And you know what, to bring the conversation full circle, you talk about advertising opportunities. And I'm sure any business owner that has been traditionally advertising has found out that those traditional methods aren't as effective as they used to be.
No.
I mean, what are we doing? We're throwing an ad in the newspaper now. We're taking out some radio spots.
The newspapers in Niagara are this thick. You know why they used to be this thick? Because of the advertising.
So
They're now this thick.
You're probably looking at your marketing department and saying, "Bring me something new. I need to get involved with new media." Well,
I spent
exactly
48
what this is.
I spent 47 years in traditional media, and it gave me a great career, but it wouldn't give me a great career today. Kevin, you were in it for what, 15?
Yeah, 15. Again, great times. I wouldn't touch it with a 10-foot pole today.
No, the value for your dollar is not what it is. When you think of, we'll give you the numbers if you want them, but like I said, we'll hit almost 40,000 individual views this week on this program. You got to reevaluate what you're doing. If you're a business and you're spending money on advertising to reach Niagara, you got to reevaluate what. If you're not doing it here, you got to reevaluate it. Well, you don't have to, but I would suggest that you do. All right, Kevin, let's go back to the Wainfleet story, which is the other crazy bit of news that developed this week in Niagara. Wainfleet shooting incident leads to arrests. The Niagara Regional Police Service is investigating a shooting incident in the township of Wainfleet. The way they send out their media releases is very repetitive. But anyway, that's how they send them out. On February 28th, in Port Colborne. Uniform officers with the NRPS responded to a report of a disturbance in the area of Concession
Road 6 and Wellandport Road in Wainfleet.
Yep. So they arrived on the scene at a rural place. The initial investigation earlier in the day, they determined that a male youth had been taken against his will by 4 suspects and driven to another address, location of the disturbance call, where the suspects attempted to take a second male young person against his will. The suspects were armed with firearms and knives. At least one shot was fired during the incident. During the altercation, the suspect vehicle became stuck in a ditch. Oh, again, sloppy criminals. During the altercation, the suspect vehicle became stuck in a ditch, stranding the 4 suspects in the largely rural area. None of the persons at the residence were physically injured. Boy, there are a lot of questions here, Kevin. The initial responding officers arrested one of the suspects near the scene. Additional uniformed officers from across the Niagara region attended to assist in establishing a perimeter. The reason I'm reading this doesn't necessarily, by the way, is just as added value to what you get for this program. We do a strictly audio-only podcast as well. This is simulcast and recorded as a podcast, so people can listen to this without necessarily having to watch it. So that's why we try to read the information also. Officers from the K9 unit and emergency task unit, was this Rudy the dog, I wonder, were called to the scene to conduct a search and track for the remaining 3 suspects. The NRPS requested the assistance of the Ontario Provincial Police, and one of their helicopters even attended the scene. Out of an abundance of safety, Wainfleet residents were asked to shelter in place. At approximately 7 p.m., officers located and arrested 2 more suspects. I think that was help of the K9 unit, if I'm not mistaken. Despite an exhaustive 4.5-hour search of the area, the 4th suspect was not located, and the shelter-in-place request for Wainfleet was subsequently lifted at about 12:50 a.m. This morning. So, because, as Kevin and I were chatting about earlier, it was obviously determined that this person was of no threat to the public at large. Whatever they were doing was a targeted initiative of some sort. So 2 16-year-old males, one of Pelham, one of Niagara Falls, have been jointly charged. 16 years old. Have been jointly charged with the criminal code offenses of kidnapping, use of a firearm during the commission of an offense, attempt to commit an indictable offense, use of a firearm while attempting to commit an offense. Due to the provisions of the Youth Criminal Justice Act, the identity, of course, cannot be disclosed. A 20-year-old, man from St. Catharines has been charged with the same codes as the other guys. Now, due to the associations of 3 accused parties, the identity of the adult male is not being disclosed, as it may. Yeah, they're not going to tell you who the person of legal age is, because it might lead to conjecture as to who his buddies were, and they're underage, so they can't do that, and all the fadalderol that goes along with that.
Now, they did clarify at the bottom of the release this morning, because the numbers, I mean, there's a lot of holes in this story right now.
Oh, my God. You could drive a truck through the holes.
I'm fine with it, but we're all asking the same questions. Like, well, what happened to the first boy that was kidnapped?
Yeah, what happened to these kidnap victims? Where are they?
Yeah, what happened to them? And were they just hanging around? How did
when the vehicle went into the ditch, did they still have the one kid in the car? Did they have the second kid in the car? The 4 people fled on foot to be caught later, other than one. What about the kids that they took, and why did they take them?
Yeah, I would say that's a rural area, Lee. Here's, that intersection right there.
That's about as rural as it gets.
Concession 6, and I guess the other one would be Wellandport Road.
I guess so, yeah. But what happened to the kids?
Well,
their families haven't said anything. Nobody said anything.
This guy knows something.
don't know.
Wow.
There's some weird story going on here. What? I wonder if these people were family members thinking they were doing these kids a favor, trying to get them out of Dodge or something. Like, what's the? And in two different geographical locations in Niagara. They go grab one kid and then go to try to get another one. And how old were these kids? They're not even saying how old they were that they took.
Yeah, they brought in the helicopter. I don't know that I've ever seen that before. Have you? I mean, Nick posts all the time about the orange helicopter and its whereabouts, but the OPP,
This was a big one.
the search and rescue.
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, I wonder how many people were spooked in that area just seeing the helicopter. I'm assuming shining the big bright light, right, that we'll see in the movies.
Yeah, these suspects were little more than kids themselves, 16 years old. So they took younger people than themselves. Wow, there's just too much stuff we don't know.
And I guess the manhunt is, in theory, still continuing, right? It's interesting that they didn't release any details.
And it's standard operating procedure for law enforcement organizations to not tell you everything they know. Because if they tell you everything they know, they're telling the suspects everything they know. So, it's play your cards pretty close to your chest. But, as you say, there are way more questions than answers involved in this one.
Yeah, and I'm just surprised that they didn't release any information as to the outstanding suspect. Like we're looking for...
We're looking for this dude.
Yeah, we're looking for somebody described as this.
And I kind of get an idea that they must, if they took away the shelter in place directive, they must have an idea about who they're looking for.
Yeah, my guess is they know exactly who it is, and that's why they didn't release anything. They're like, no, we know the exact person we're looking for. We know where they live.
We know who you are, and we saw what you did.
Yeah,
like the old horror movies. But I'm just continually, I guess, frustrated. Frustrated is the perfect word with the lack of disclosure that we get from our law enforcement people. And this goes back to the two missing people that we have covered, and more than two actually, but the two main people that we've spent a lot of time on this program. The young woman that went missing on New Year's Eve 2021, the young man from Feulled that went missing on the night before St. Patrick's Day, 2023, and nothing. We get no further information. We get no further disclosure. We do not. We're like they used to say, and I apologize for my language, but in a lot of businesses, the employees somebody will ask you, well, how do you like your job? And somebody will say, I get treated like a mushroom. What do you mean? Well, I get fed shit and I live in the dark. That's the expression. I'm a mushroom. We are increasingly treated like mushrooms in our public world because people are not telling us what they know. Is there maybe a good reason? Sure. Well, then tell us there's a good reason. We have reason to believe that we know what happened, but because of whatever issue, be it security, be it family privacy, be it harboring a criminal or impeding an investigation, then tell us that. Tell us you're not telling us for a reason. And Kevin, it seems to be getting worse. Nobody's talking about anything. They're just, we get, and don't get me wrong, I am a supporter of organized policing. I really am. And I'm a supporter of the Niagara Regional Police Service. But come on. And the OPP, but come on.
Yeah, I mean, already on the show, Lee, we've talked about a tale of two worlds, and you talk about, you know, that WeeStream is going to be working with the city of St. Catharines so that we can have a very open and thorough discussion about what happened at the Sonics explosion, what has occurred since.
And that's a good thing.
And then on the flip side,
that's
you
a
get
good
to see
thing.
What's happening in Welland with the collapse of the building, and it seems that, you know...
It is. It's a tale of two positions from municipalities. Like, come on.
I don't know why they're trying to put up walls.
I don't want to be a mushroom anymore. And people shouldn't be treating their constituents, their citizens, like that, because it demeans it insults our intelligence. It does. Oh, okay. Well, you must know what you're doing then. Let's go have another beer.
Now, Lee,
Jesus. Sorry.
No. It's all good.
Would we have Matthew?
We do have Matthew. I want to share this, though, and then we'll get to Matthew, because what a weekend for Niagara. Top team. They had two fighters, including Jasmine, Jasudavicius in UFC. And
good old Jazz. Yeah, I say good old Jazz.
But, you know, don't want to just dump, because Nick did post this from the NRP, and it was from, I think this is Ontario Provincial Police, and just warning us about flying ice. And I'm sure you saw so many cars this week on the QEW 406 or whatever.
People that don't clean the hoods, clean the roofs of their cars or the trucks or whatever, it should be a criminal offense.
Been a day or two since that last blast of winter weather came across southern Ontario, and if you did not clear your vehicle completely of ice and snow, that snow on your car has likely now compressed and consolidated into a chunk of ice. And that chunk of ice can easily come flying off your vehicle when you're going at higher speeds down the highway. We typically see an increase in these types of calls a day or two after snowstorms. You are responsible for whatever damage is caused as a result of ice coming off of your vehicle.
Yeah.
It is your responsibility to clear your vehicle of ice and snow, and failure to do so, when this type of situation occurs, you and your vehicle will be named in the traffic report as being the most at fault or responsible driver and vehicle in this incident. Please be responsible, please be careful, clear your vehicle of ice and snow before you head out on the roads.
I am so glad that
it has now been a day.
He put that post up because the most dangerous offenders of this are large transport trucks, and it's the company's responsibility, and then they put it back on the driver to make it their responsibility. Because I know some truck drivers in my world, and they're supposed to clean the tops of those trailers. Unfortunately, they don't make it easy for their drivers to do that. There is no special apparatus, at least that I've heard of lately. I could be wrong. Maybe some companies have this, some don't. But they should have the same thing for trucks, in my estimation, that they have for airplanes. When they de-ice airplanes, they have special contraptions and special structures that make it accessible for the workers to de-ice their vehicles. But I don't know that a lot of trucks have that, and it would be difficult for drivers, even though it's their responsibility, to clean all of those ice and snow chunks off their vehicle. Because I saw some flying off trucks as well, and I had to swerve out of the way a couple of times because there were things coming off them. But I've also seen smaller cars that have ridiculous amounts of snow still on the roof. I mean, one looked like a straight up hairdo. There was so much snow on there. I mean, that's just irresponsible, folks. So you have to get rid of that stuff. So I'm glad that Nick put that up. Our first guest on the program is connected to our second guest on the program. We have had Jasmine Jasudavicius on this program a number of times. We had her on before she was actually given a UFC contract. We had her on just after she was given a UFC contract. She's a St. Catharines native, and her career is skyrocketing. She, as a UFC fighter, she won fight 1, she lost fight 2, and just recently she won her fight 3. So she's 2-1 in the world of the UFC. And that young man with her is another Niagara person that trains out of Niagara Top Team Gym. Hey, we got you, Matthew. How are you doing?
Good, yourself?
I'm great. Thank you very much for putting up with us. Jazz, hi.
Hi, how are you?
I'm terrific. Congratulations on fight number 3.
Thank you very much.
Where are you right now?
I'm just in the car. We're just leaving practice.
Okay. Yeah. In where?
Oh, I'm home. I'm back in Canada. I'm at Niagara Top Team.
Oh, you're back home. You're back in Matthew's backyard then.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
So, Lee, since I screwed everything up, can we maybe, what do you want to do? Talk to Matt first about the event coming up on Friday?
Yeah,
and
we'll talk. We'll get the details from Matt, and then Matthew, and then we'll come back to you. Okay, Jazz?
Sounds good.
All right, hang in there. So, Matthew, tell us about. I don't even know if I'm saying it right. Nakmoy.
Yeah, so Nakma Niagara, it's our first inaugural Muay Thai event hosted by the gym, Niagara Top Team.
Yeah, take the front because I'm doing an interview. Yeah.
We're super excited about that. We got a bunch of up-and-coming athletes on the card. We initially had 14 fights, but a few of them fell through, so we're down to 10 now, but still going to be a great night. It's going to be at the Meriton Community Center Friday, March 3rd, and it's going to be doors open at 6 p.m. First fight's at 7 p.m., should go till roughly 11 p.m. We got a bunch of awesome sponsors that hopped on board to help out. We're gonna have Wine Country Barbecue serving up some awesome food, and we also got a couple drink sponsors for some adult beverages there. So boxing, barbecue, and
Boxing, barbecue, and beer.
Yeah, can't go wrong with that. And we're going to be donating a portion of proceeds to the Theodoro Foundation. So yeah, even if you're not able to come, if you feel so inclined, if you want to check out the Theodoro Foundation on their GoFundMe, we're trying to help them reach their funding goal.
Hey, Matthew, it sort of slipped by me. Can you be a little bit more clear about what foundation we're talking about?
Yeah, so the Theodoro Foundation.
Theodore Foundation?
Theodoro Foundation.
Okay, what is that?
So Elias Theodoro was a UFC fighter and a friend of Niagara Top Team. A lot of the guys trained with him and looked up to him. He was the winner of the Ultimate Fighter reality TV show, and he unfortunately passed away a few months ago. And we set up a foundation. He suffered from bowel neuropathy. And then he was chronically ill and then eventually passed away from cancer. But in his kind of like last moments, he set up a foundation with his estate and with his coaches and stuff to help people kind of going through stuff that he was battling for both that, helping gain access to the healthcare system, as well as higher access is other kind of foundation. They're kind of raising money for both, and higher access helps people with gaining different kind of resources on medical cannabis.
Oh, that's great, and I'm glad I asked you because I know a number of people, and probably most of Niagara isn't aware of Theodore, and thanks for explaining that to us and doing this event. Before I let you go, tell us a little bit about this specific art of competition. Tell us what it really is again.
Yeah, so Muay Thai, it's nicknamed the art of 8 limbs or the science of 8 limbs because it's utilizes both the fists, the kicks, the knees, and the elbows. Hence the art of 8 limbs. So it's kind of like a Thai version of kickboxing.
Okay.
And it utilizes a lot of clinch work, so grabbing and kneeing, unlike kind of K1 rules where they only have like a few seconds to clinch and they're only allowed to do one knee kind of thing. For this, they're allowed to kind of clinch for a little longer, throw a lot of knees. It's got like a more of a cultural aspect to it as well, so you guys will see some of that at the event. They do something called a Y Crew, where they kind of like pay homage to their coaches and kind of that traditional aspect. They play like some Thai music during the event too, so
Cool.
it should be interesting for people, for newcomers to the sport. But it's a strong base for MMA and a big part of MMA. One for athletes and other athletes' styles.
Awesome. Matthew, sorry, we're gonna let you go because we want to get over to Jazz, and we were a little late getting going. But one last question: how do we get tickets? How much are they, et cetera, for Friday night?
Yeah, so for tickets, you can either get them online on our Eventbrite, and if you go to NiagaraTopTeam.com and scroll to the bottom of our website, there's a link to the Eventbrite there. They're $35. If you want to save on like taxes, fees, and stuff, if you come to the gym at 325 Welland Avenue between 11 a.m. and 8 p.m., you can get physical tickets as well, and you'll save a little bit of money there.
All right.
But yeah, they're selling out quick, so I'll grab them while I can, and appreciate everybody for their support.
Yeah, thank you very much, Matthew, for hanging in there with us today. Good luck on the event, and we want to have you back because I want to find out more about Niagara Top Team. It seems like a great organization to me, and you've obviously had incredible success. So we'll have you back. Good luck Friday night, and take care.
Thank you. Have a good day.
Yeah, you too. Okay, Jasmine, Jasudavicius, UFC fighter. Thank you for being patient with us, darling. And you're back in. You're in your car. You're back in Niagara, and you've had a pretty good start to your UFC career. You're 2 for 1, and I was reading kind of round by round description of your last fight. How did you give us your perspective of the last one you did in Vegas?
Sorry, I couldn't hear the last question.
Oh, I just said, tell us about your last fight. I read about it online, but tell us about your experience for fight number 3 in Vegas.
Oh, so fight number 3. I guess it was my 4th fight under the Zuffa banner because my first one was through Contender Series. That's like also the UFC, but the it's a little bit of a show part of it, but yeah. So my last performance, I'm very happy with my performance. I was going against a very talented striker, and my coaches and I we were talking, and we figured like the route to victory is taking this girl down, not to get any involved with any of her strikes because she's very powerful. So yeah, that was the game plan going in there, and I mean it was a little bit of a boring fight, but next time maybe it will be a little bit more exciting. But I was just making sure I got that win. Yeah,
well, I mean the W is what you're looking for, and when I was reading the sort of blow by blow or round by round. We lost your video. Where the heck did you go?
Oh, no, she's just holding her ear up.
Oh, you're holding your ear up. Okay, I got it. Okay. Now I get it. Thanks, Kev. Okay, so answer me this. By the sound of the rounds, when I was reading the documentary of what happened, you were dominating this fight from the very beginning. And even had a really good opportunity at one point to put your opponent down. But you still won a unanimous decision. And the scorecards were, I think, something like unanimous decision, 30-26 in your favor. For somebody that they said dominated the fight all the way through, that doesn't sound like a big margin. Can you give us some idea about how they score these fights?
Sorry, I'm just in the car, so I had to.
I get it. I get it. That's fine.
But yeah, so how they do the scoring is like it's a 10 out of 10, and so if it's a close round, then it will be like one person will get a 9 and one person to get a 10. It's not very often that you get an 8 compared to a 10. That means that there was a big difference if you get an 8 versus 10 as opposed to a 9 versus 10. And the scoring system is really only 8, 9, and 10. Like it,
It's very
so,
slim.
So that's why it doesn't seem so much.
Okay.
But yeah, 2 of the rounds I got 8 or 10, and she only got 8. So if and there was one round that I got 9, or she got 9 and I got 10. So that's kind of like how the scoring system works.
Gotcha. Thank you. Okay, you might have to put the phone back up to your ear again now. So tell us about a little bit about your other Niagara pal that showed up. His name is Mike, I believe, that was also fighting. Can you tell us a little bit about Mike?
Yeah, for sure. So Mike, he's Mike Malott. He's a teammate of mine, and I'm very fortunate to be able to fight on the same card with him. We got into the UFC at a very similar time. He got through on Contender Series. I did as well. We joked the one time that I got in before him, even though he's been training far longer than me. But I got in. It was like 2 weeks or something like that before his show was aired. But yeah, he's a talented guy, both striking and grappling. He's never been out of the first round. He finishes all his opponents, and his last fight he finished him as well. And because he got such a great finish, he got a $50K bonus. So that's awesome for him, because he wants to buy a new house, and that money will help him out a lot.
A $50,000 bonus. Now that comes from UFC?
Yeah, that comes from the UFC. If you get like finishes or fight of the night or anything, then in addition to your purse that you get, you can win a bonus, and they do. Yeah, it's $50,000 US.
Wow. So let me ask you then. You don't have to be specific, but does that mean that you're doing pretty well yourself?
Well, unfortunately, I didn't get the bonus, so no.
But you're still doing okay. You're still doing okay.
Well, I mean, it's not like fighting isn't the same as like with say like hockey or baseball, whereas when you go from the regional scene into the Premier League, then your life is changed overnight. It's not like that. It's I still rely heavily on like sponsorships and people helping me out, and MMA is growing, but it's not quite what the NHL is or the MLB or anything like that. It's still a little bit too young.
All right. Kevin Jack wants to ask you a question here, Jazz.
Yeah, just along those lines. I mean, UFC, it's a cutthroat business. You're not getting, guaranteed contracts like NHL players or whatever. For you, how much do you think was riding on the line on Saturday night's fight?
A lot's riding on it. You, like you said, you can get cut, almost without any reason. They don't let you choose who you're fighting or anything. They tell you you're fighting this date at this time. Until you're maybe one of the top 10, top 15, then you can have a little bit more say. But like I'm still in the entry level, so I'm hungry to keep continuing to grow, and then I'll be able to make more better decisions like that.
Let me ask you this question, Jasmine. You mentioned that you thought that third fight might have been a little bit boring. I don't find any of those fights boring. I used to watch heavyweight boxing, and that was oftentimes what you might call boring, but there's still a strategy to it. The thing is, do you get noticed more by your bosses, by the UFC people, if the fight is more exciting, or is it just based on wins? Like, do you get style points, do you think, in the background, or how does that work in your opinion?
So yeah, there's definitely an entertainment aspect to competing in the UFC. You know, like it is important to kind of show well. That being said, you know, they do understand that you're fighting the best people in the world, and sometimes you are going to have a boring fight. But I mean, like, the more hype the fight, the more cool things that happen, the more people are watching, and then your name builds from that. So there is an importance to have that popularity.
Okay, one last question, Jazz, and then we'll let you go. What is? Do you have any idea what is next, or do you just wait for the next phone call?
I'm not too sure what's next. I pretty much just wait for the phone call. I mean, it's kind of up to my coaches and my manager. They're the ones that do everything, and I kind of stay out of it a little bit because I know they got my best interest in mind.
Good for you. So you're basically in a good place right now. You're a happy girl. You feel good?
Yeah, I'm in a great place right now. I feel good. It felt so great to come home after the win, and I get to enjoy some time with my family. It's my birthday today, actually, so I get to enjoy myself for once on my birthday.
Awesome. Well, that's great. We didn't know that. Happy birthday to you. I hope you have a great time with your family. And I notice you're not bruised up or cut too badly, so your mom must be happy about that.
No, I was going to ask you, look a little puffy there, Jazz.
A little puffy, but not too binged up.
I got a little bruise. That was only damage. My elbow's a little bit bruised, but other than that, I'm glad for my mom's sake, yeah, like you said.
All right, well, listen, you have a happy birthday. Congratulations on a great career so far. Keep it going, and I know we're going to be talking again soon. You have a great birthday, and thanks for coming on with us today.
Awesome. Thanks for having me, as always.
Take care, love. All right. Jasmine, Jasudavicius, UFC fighter, hailing from St. Catharines. And yeah, she had a bruise there or so, Kevin, but I mean, considering she's going to be seeing her mom on her birthday, it's like, you know, she looks pretty good. She says she heals fast. I remember she said that in one of the previous interviews. She heals. Just an incredible story.
I mean, the whole thing to have Mike there, have two Canadians from St. Catharines, all out of the same club, Niagara top team. And as you saw here, you know what? I'll try and pull up their website again, Lee.
I really do want to talk. I really want to talk to Matthew again about the Niagara Top Team organization and what they do. There's their website, or that's their Facebook page.
And if you go to the website, look at all the stuff that they offer. And I mean, I didn't know, for example, kids programs.
Well, this is what I wanted to ask him about as well, because they obviously know what they're doing. If they're training people that go on to fame and perhaps
is that
fortune.
Not Jazz in the photo right there for kids? I mean, whether it is or isn't. I mean, she trains there, as does Mike Malott.
Well, it could be.
I mean, literally, you're being trained
by the best,
or with somebody that you see on the Saturday night main card out of Vegas on UFC.
Yeah.
What more are you looking for? And you can do that right here in St. Catharines. It's incredible. Way to go, Jazz. Way to go, Mike. Way to go, Matthew.
Exactly.
Adult programs.
And again, it doesn't mean that you're necessarily going to be stepping into a ring and doing combat, but it does mean you're going to be getting some incredible training for your fitness and enjoyment.
And this is what Matthew was talking about, the more info on the night. So if you click there, on more info, and then it brings you to their Eventbrite page. And
if you've ever been interested in training for martial arts, you can go see what these people do in this particular form of it at the Merritt Community Center, Friday night, 7 o'clock. 10 cards. You're going to see 10. He said 14. I don't know. Wow, 14 would be a lot, but 10 bouts on a card is a pretty good night of entertainment if you're interested in that kind of thing. That's awesome.
Yeah, here, Lee. Not sure what you want to do here, but I got to get the camera set up because we're rolling up on 1:30. Is there something you want to put on the screen for you?
I think I want to put the condo collapse up there one more time. Well, it might be on a loop, but I want to.
Yeah, you know what? Why don't I put the YouTube video after the collapse?
Excellent. Excellent.
It's a little longer.
We're talking about the drone?
Yeah, the drone footage. It's just...
Okay, while Kevin's doing that, I want to take another opportunity to thank our sponsors. Niagara 411 Live. Before you go, Kevin, actually, no, we'll wait till you come back. Gales Gas Bars Limited have been with us since very, very short time after we began this thing. We began this thing in sort of a trial phase, and when we realized that you were actually engaging with the program, we thought, okay, well, let's get serious about this, and there are people that got serious with us, and we want to continue to thank them for being here, and you see their logos on the screen all the time. Gales Gas Bars Limited, thank you, Jessica Friesen and your entire gang, for fueling this program like you've been fueling Niagara since '67. Verge Insurance Group, again, a stalwart supporter of ours, obviously seeing the value of continuing to be a part of Niagara 411 Live with Lee Sterry. WeeStream, Kevin Jack, Brandon Scram, that the technology that we use here is a technology that we can use for your event or regular meetings or whatever it is, and it will maximize the reach and effectiveness of your message to the power of 100. Trust me, it's probably the most cost-effective way you could have of having your video of your event on the screen. And it's not just a video, it is live in the moment streaming, and it will be available and archived for all time, just like this program is. You can go to YouTube. We're on YouTube. Just click on WeeStream, and all of our programs are there since its inception about 3 years ago. And also, we do put this program out over Twitter. Niagara 411 Live with Lee Sterry is on Twitter constantly and every week. And as well as wherever you get your podcasts. You can find the podcast version of Niagara 411 Live if you don't have a chance to watch the whole thing in real time with pictures. You can listen to it in your car on your way to work or whatever it is. And that's why we try to go into detail and read what is on the screen. So again, thank you everybody for supporting us. What you're looking at right now is almost unthinkable. That is the Upper Vista condo project that you just saw, and Kevin just got back, and that's the flyover video after the fact. That's, look, from back to front. The frontage, of course, is on the Welland Canal, right near that old railway bridge that goes across the canal. The first video a week ago showed that section in the middle where that pit is falling, and then the video this week showed the piece of the structure that was in front of that just let go and came down. And one of our reasons for bringing this to you again this week is the fact that none of us, you included, are happy with the lack of information we're getting about this. We're just not getting enough. Nobody's talking, and they say, well, there's nothing to know. Well, I believe, as they say, don't pee in my boot and tell me it's raining. There are things that people know that we're not hearing. And if that isn't the case, tell us and be convincing about it. But that's one of the big stories of the week. The other one is the Wainfleet manhunt, and hopefully we'll get some clarity on what was going on with that, as well as that strange vehicular death in Grimsby where the older couple, senior citizen couple, were intentionally driven into by a younger woman. I think they said she was in her 40s, and the younger woman has been charged with one count of first-degree murder and one count of attempted murder, which is another almost unheard of story. So there are some weird and wacky things happening in Niagara. Kevin, who have we got to play us off the stage today?
I don't know. I'm trying to find somebody.
Oh,
I
really?
gotta say, I did not do my research on this.
Okay, that's fair. That's all right.
So I'm looking for some Niagara musicians. You can kind of let people know.
That's a nice shot of the Welland Canal. I mean, it's a crappy shot of that building, but it's really a nice, beautiful shot of the Welland Canal, a nice walkway and the bridge. Of course, the walkway's all closed now. People can't go around there anymore. And Kevin, I want to touch on this while you're doing a search, and I know you can multitask, but I do want to let folks know that we're going to be off for a week, and this being March the 1st, what do you think? Did it come in as a lamb or did it come in as a lion? It came in like pretty lamb-like for me, but it's supposed to get more lion-like toward the end of the week.
I'm just going with Miley, like a wrecking ball. That's what needs to happen down in Welland.
Yeah.
Oh
Okay.
my God.
So we're not sure whether we got a lion or a lamb of a month in March. Apparently, we're going to get a little bit more crazy weather-wise near the end of the week, but batten down the hatches. It's been goofy with the ice and the snow and the temperatures and everything. It's been an interesting winter, that is for sure. Not horrible as far as winters go weather-wise, but it has had its moments. But I do want to let you know that our next show of Niagara 411 Live with Lee Sterry is going to be 2 weeks from today, which takes us up to March the 15th. Correct? The Ides of March. Beware the Ides of March. We'll be back. Who we got, Kev? You had somebody?
So, yeah, going to play an oldie but a goodie from My Son the Hurricane. And kudos to Jacob and Dano and Sylvie and the rest of the crew there as they begin to announce where they're going to be this summer. They'll be sharing a stage with Foo Fighters up in Ottawa at Blues Fest, and that's really cool, so I'm happy for them.
And, My Son the Hurricane has just achieved some amazing things. And having been in a band years ago that had maybe like 14 members in it, I know how difficult it is. It's like herding cats when you're talking about musicians and singers. So, and there are how many in My Son? So, like maybe 1,000 people in that band?
That, yeah. Now we're going way back. I don't know. This is probably 10 years ago. Pushing up daisies.
So congratulations to My Son the Hurricane, local entertainers that are just absolutely wonderful at their craft. Kevin, always a pleasure to work with you and WeeStream. My name's Lee Sterry. We'll see you in a couple of weeks, and enjoy My Son the Hurricane. Have yourself a great week, and good luck on the weekend with the weather. Cheers.
Sink or swim, we've got a taste now, don't eat the whole thing. We grew up knowing we could do anything, but anything quickly turned into everything. And everything's more than we could have imagined, and then what happened? So shout out to every time I got third instead of first. I want the best, so I sit through the worst. I want it all, the good and the bad, and already got more than I could have imagined. Shout out to all the fellas and the ladies that ain't giving up till they pushing up daisies. Do what you got to provoke the gears. Not about being there, it's about getting there from here.
From here, it's the other side I wanna be. I'll leave the money and the women for what I believe. Now
Now, my son's a hurricane, he's tearing up my life. Only a few months, he's how I planned it with my wife. We dream for him, but soon he'll dream all on his own. Make his bad decisions from the things his life has shown. I tell him, yell him, teach him, preach him, then release him. Baby's gotta do it all alone. Be his own man or grow up to be a clone. Life's written with chalk and rain, not carved in stone.
Shout out to every time I got third instead of first. I want the best, so I sit through the worst. I want it all, the good and the bad, and I already got more than I could have imagined. Shout out to all the fellas and the ladies that ain't giving up till they're pushing up daisies. Do what you got to provoke the gears. It's not about being there, it's about getting there from here. Shout out to every time I got third instead of first. I want the best, so I sit through the worst. I want it all, the good and the bad, and I already got more than I could have imagined. Shout out to